Hey guys, and welcome to the Crochet Life of Sophie. I'm Sophie. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to crochet a chunky mini tote bag. So what you are going to need is a 15mm crochet hook. You might need a tape measure, some scissors, stitch markers, and t-shirt yarn. So what's a bit different about my t-shirt yarn today is these are very too thin strands. You can use your measuring tape to measure the size of your t-shirt yarn. So mine is basically like 2 centimeters. I'll be using 3 strands at the same time, but it counts as me using 2 strands at the same time, except that these are very thin, therefore I have to double up on them. I'll be using 3 strands at the same time. So it depends on the size of your t-shirt yarn, because these are recycled fibers, so they come in different sizes or width. For this one it's 3.5. So I'm just gonna use these strands at the same time. In order to get started, we are gonna start off by making a slip knot. There are various ways that one can make a slip knot, but that's how I personally make a slip knot. I'm just gonna slightly adjust the loop. I'm gonna begin by making a chain of 12. I have tried to not make these chains very loose as this yarn stretches out. The unnecessary part has to be me measuring the chain, because the chain is still gonna stretch out when we start working on it. After making a foundation chain stitch, we're gonna skip the very first chain and make a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Now I'm gonna continue working single crochets in each and every stitch until I get to the end of the row. When I reach the end, I'm gonna chain 1 and turn my work, and then proceed to make a single crochet in each and every stitch until I get to the end of the row. After the second row of making single crochets, I'm gonna chain 1 and turn my work, and I'm gonna continue to make a single crochet in each and every stitch until I get to the end of the row. After working the last single crochet, I'm gonna chain 1. After making a chain 1, I'm gonna be working on the side of the base of the bag, meaning that you can insert your crochet hook wherever it may fit. Please note that it may be a bit challenging to work single crochets on the side or the edge of the bag, or it may be a bit challenging to just simply insert the crochet hook. You're more than welcome to use a different tool such as a crochet hook or even scissors to sort of stretch out the stitches on the side or the edge of the bag. Now that I'm done making single crochets on the side, I'll be making single crochets on the longer side of the base. You can choose to weave in your tails as you go, that's what I'll be doing, or you can choose to weave them in when you are done. Now I'm working the last single crochet in the last stitch before we get started on crocheting on the side of the base. Just a tip, if you may be struggling with inserting your crochet hook, you can use a different object to stretch it out, objects such as scissors or even a smaller crochet hook. Now I'm going to continue making single crochets on the stitches that are on the side of the base. I'm currently working on the last stitch where I'll be inserting my last crochet hook. After working on this stitch, or after making the single crochet, I'm gonna insert a stitch marker. The stitch marker is gonna count as the beginning of the next row. When I reach the stitch marker after making single crochets around, I will not be slip stitching, I'm just gonna be working in the rounds. Therefore, a stitch marker is a very essential tool that we are going to be needing for this project in order to remember where we started. So I'm going to continue making a single crochet in each and every stitch around until I reach the stitch marker. I will not be making any increases, just inserting a single crochet in each and every stitch around. When I reach the stitch marker, I remove it, then continue to make a single crochet. After working a single crochet, I then put it back up. This is gonna help me remember the beginning of the next row. Once again, I am gonna continue making single crochets in each and every stitch around until I get to the stitch marker. Here I'll show you guys what my mini chunky tote bag looks like after working on it for 3 rows. I have personally decided to stop working on it after I have a total of 7 rows. If you'd like your bag to be a bit taller, you can continue making extra rows of single crochets. Now I am working the last single crochet before I work a slip stitch in the stitch that has a stitch marker on it. I'm gonna remove the stitch marker and then work a slip stitch. After working a slip stitch, I'm gonna make a chain of 30. If you'd like your back strap to be a bit longer or even a bit shorter, you are more than welcome to make more chains or even less chains. I have opted to make 30 chains. There are so many ways you can go about making the back strap. I have just decided to keep it simple and just make a chain of 30 and attach it to the other side of the bag. I will not be making slip stitches on these chains that I'm currently working on. So basically 1 row of these 30 chains is sufficient for me. Just bear in mind that when you do decide to go or opt to make 1 row of these chains, the back strap might end up being a little bit stretchy. Personally, for me, that's what I prefer. Here's another bag that I made with a longer chain. So with the specific one that I'm making, I want it to be the shoulder sized bag, hence a chain of 30. Now before we attach our chain to the other side of the bag, make sure that it is not twisted. So what you're going to want to do is find the side of the bag and find any stitch that's basically in the middle where you can make a slip stitch and attach the chain. After making a slip stitch, I am going to chain 1. This chain 1 is going to be to secure my work, and that's going to be the end. However, if you'd like to see how I am going to be weaving in my ends, you're more than welcome to do that. And I'll also be showing you guys how I personally attach my bow to the bag. So because I was using multiple strands at the same time, I'm just gonna weave in 1 strand at the same time, instead of trying to weave in all 3 of them or both of them at the same time. This process is completely optional. How you weave in your ends is really up to you. I insert my needle wherever I can and try to weave it in. I just basically go around the stitches until I'm happy with how my yarn is woven in, and then I cut it off and move on to the next one.